I encourage you always to think for yourself. I must confess that I watch TV news because I'm afraid of missing out on something that might be important. I know there have been times in my life when I didn't pay attention to the news and suddenly found myself in the midst of groups of people who were talking about things about which I knew nothing. And I suppose my lack of knowledge at the time convinced me that I shouldn't miss the news so that I wouldn't be out of touch ever again. I can only remind myself that I am an inseparable part of God, just as you are, and that my life is whole and complete as it is. And I hope that that's how you see it as well, that you see your own life as whole and complete, and that there's nothing that you have to change. In today's scripture reading, we heard verses about how Jesus fell asleep in the boat while the disciples were rowing across the lake to Gadarenes, which is on the opposite shore of Galilee. As they were rowing, there arose a storm of wind upon the lake. And in the midst of the turmoil all around them, Jesus was at peace within and fell asleep. Around him, the disciples watched the sky grow dark and waves became more intense. And finally, the disciples woke Jesus and said, "What's going on? We're scared." Jesus stilled the waters and asked them, "Where is your faith?" In this way, Jesus demonstrated how one can be of this world but not part of it. The disciples, being filled with fear, may or may not have understood what Jesus was saying to them. They simply wondered in awe, who is this man that even commands the winds and the waves and the sea? Here was a demonstration to the disciples of the power of faith. Yet their fear prevented them from getting to the understanding that Jesus spent his life trying to convince them to do. Remember that fear has a negative impact on your universe. The disciples experienced such fear that they were unable to understand the lesson Jesus was trying to teach them. Don't let fear sabotage your ability to get understanding. Remember that Jesus said, "These and greater things shall you do." Jesus demonstrated that faith in God eliminates fear. So the question to ponder for today is your faith strong enough to eliminate fear in your life? Perhaps it's up to us to have the faith that God will take care of us and of our world and leave the news off. If you haven't been affected by the turmoil you're hearing about in the news, perhaps it's because your faith in God is strong. And you're constantly expressing gratitude, which means you're headed down the right path. Keep expressing that gratitude and keep on your current path, and you will be blessed. The title of this morning's lesson is on finding our spiritual place in the physical world. Hopefully, I've made it clear that by having faith in God, we too can sleep soundly in the boat in the midst of all the turmoil around us, because with God, all things are possible. Remember that the connection with God is always there and available anytime, anywhere. And I guess this doesn't answer the question about where I start when I try to figure out what my lesson is, but it does give me an idea that I'm on the right track, and I hope you're on the right track as well. Have a blessed day, and thank you for your attention this morning, and join me now in the acceptance statement. Now, may the light illumine our mind with wisdom, may love fill our heart with understanding, may the one life shine forth from our innermost being, so that we walk renewed in light, life, love, today, tomorrow, and forever.